Hi, it's Rory from Counselling Matters and welcome to the comments edition. Okay, well, I've had some comments, as you can see. I've been given some comments and I'm going to respond to them today. What I'd say is keep those comments coming, keep those questions coming, should I say, and if I can, I'll respond to them. So I've got three questions that have been asked I'm going to respond to. And the first one is from Kylie Canudis, and she asks, explain how a counsellor can manage the client's unrealistic expectations of the counsellor and the counselling process. Okay, always a tricky one. A client comes in distress and wants to be fixed. Well, there's no real easy answer to this, but the starting point, I think, Kylie, is in the contract. If you do a contract with a client, you contract right at the beginning and ask them their expectations. And if those expectations are too unrealistic, then I think a therapist should respectfully but firmly say, I'm not sure in the time available that might happen. Also, I think there's something about a therapist making an assessment at contracting whether or not their level of competence matches what the client needs. And that's very, very tricky. It's very tricky for students because students may very well feel a little wobbly or a little insecure in their first few sessions and sometimes there's a sense of being, I guess, overwhelmed. What I would say is if you're unsure, supervision is a great place to explore that, or if you're in college or a training provider in the training group circle, speak about that and gain some support. So just to reiterate really, the answer to that, Kylie, is the contract and considering, I guess, the level of competence or the skill set, should I say, that a therapist has. And there's certainly been times in my career where I've worked with a client and it became clear that the length of sessions we had to offer weren't enough, may not be enough, and also that maybe my skill set wasn't the skill set that client needed, in which case I made a referral. Question 2 from Uncle Antithesit. So this has come from YouTube. And I'm kind of hoping I've got your name right, and I'm guessing that you're a he with the name Uncle Antitheist. So if you're not a he, I'll apologise beforehand. And the question is, I have a question about when a client becomes frustrated with the process, when they call you out for, let's say, not caring for them because it's your job, not offering advice to them and wanting to be fixed. It's a stage I went through when I was receiving therapy. And now I am in training in person-centred therapy. I have worries about how to respond. I remember it feeling at the time of my therapy that the therapist was being evasive. Well, I think therapists are only human too. And if a client is getting angry or annoyed, then therapists, may become evasive. What I would say, it really does link into the first question that was asked. And that was around how does a therapist deal with a client whose expectations may be unrealistic or maybe anxious to get fixed, for want of a better word. Well, again, it's about the therapist being congruent and real. I think this is a stage where congruence really does come into the therapy room, and the therapist should say to a client who's kind of being angry and projecting that anger, to be honest, I would say I can really hear that frustration and I hear you're angry with me, and try to explore what that's about. And there can be many reasons why clients become this way. It may be that for the very first time in their lives, they have a permission to be angry. Clients may come from a place, their family or their wider society, where expressing emotion just isn't either permitted or received. So in the therapy room, this outburst may be around, and I'm not saying this was in your therapy, getting all that stuff out and allowing themselves to be angry. And although it can be uncomfortable for therapists, certainly in training, I would say congruence, being real and exploring what it is that they're angry about. And it may take the client on a real different path and really explore where their issues are. One final comment on that. I think that if a client is getting and expressing high emotion, that may be the process of change as well, where they're accessing all their emotions, and as such they're trying them out. You know, some people go through life, believe it or believe it not, just not getting used to emotions. They may feel that anger is a bad thing, so they never have it, and that can make people unwell and impact on their emotional health. So the therapist allowing all of the emotion to be available in the therapy room. So I hope that answers your question. Question 3, and it's from Simon Parry, and again from YouTube. So, hi Rory, nice to see the new channel. Okay, glad you like it. I was wondering if you'll be doing any videos on LGBT. I'm a level 3 student and studying at South Essex College. So, hi to all those who are watching at South Essex College, and hi to you, Simon. He goes on to say, I'm presently, I guess, I'm looking at the LGBT, in particular to trans community and also identity. It would be great to see some content that would cover these subjects. Okay, so LGBT, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's lesbian, gay, bisexual and transsexual, and it covers the rich panoply of sexuality and identity in human beings. And as we know, it can be very difficult for people from the LGBT community to come out or be themselves, because there's still a lot of prejudice about, and certainly people are transitioning. We see more and more in the newspapers of people who are born into a male body and then they identify themselves as female or vice versa, and that is becoming more apparent as people feel that they can actually be who they are. So to answer your question, Simon, it's quite a big piece of work for an 8-minute YouTube video, but I will be interviewing someone that I work with and have recently worked with who delivers LGBT training, a guy called Barry who runs Warrington Pride, which is a gay affirmative community in Warrington, near where I have my college, where I work in the college. And I'm going to be asking him to do some interviews, a series of interviews. So I'm going to hope to cover some of that content. What I would say is if that is your area of interest, I would go to Pink Therapy, which is a huge resource on the internet that caters for people who are working with gay, lesbian, bisexual and transsexual clients, and has a real wealth of information. So I'd really recommend that. And what I'll do is I'll put a link in the comments bar below, and you can click on it if you've not already found it. I think someone's already mentioned that on YouTube. Well, that's the end of the comments section. I've done 3 comments today. If you've got any questions, if you've got anything that you'd like to know, I will try and answer it. I can't say that I'm going to make these videos every Friday or every week, but I will make them from time to time. And I hope that you've enjoyed the responses. You know, please tell me, let's have some comments, and don't forget to subscribe. And as for me, well, I'm going to enjoy my tea, and remember, counselling matters.